Welcome to today's class. So in today's class, we are going to be discussing chemistry. Basically, the first topic in chemistry, which is known as the matter. So this question, there is a reason it is the first topic, because it will help you build on chemistry. Because if you get this topic wrong, meaning chemistry will be hard for you. So make sure you pay attention as I break down the basics which you need to know under matter. So before I start, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and also share the video if it was helpful. Yeah, so what exactly is matter? So matter is defined as anything which has mass and occupies space. So whenever you see anything that occupies space and has mass is known as matter. So whatever you see, even you yourself as a human being, you are matter, because you have two things. You have mass and you occupy space wherever you go. Let's say you enter a shop, meaning you're occupying space of that shop, and you also have mass, so meaning you are matter. Then, knowing the definition of matter, we can move on to what makes up matter, or what does matter consist of. So matter basically consists of three things which are known as the basic units of matter. So whenever they ask you about the basic units of matter, just know that they are asking you to tell them what matter is made up of. And it is made up of three things. One, we have atoms. Two, we have ions. And three, we have molecules. So these are the three things which matter is made up of. So no need of confusing yourself. So now we have understood two things here. We have understood what matter is and what matter is made up of. So next we are going to look at now the states of matter. What do we mean when we say the states of matter? So when we are talking about the states of matter, we are saying that these are forms in which matter now exists, because I said that matter is anything that occupies space. But when you look around us, we have different things which have mass and also occupies space. So those things are what are known as the states of matter. These are forms which matter exists in. So next we are looking at what? The states of matter. Forms in which matter exists. So basically we have three forms in which matter exists, or we have three forms which can represent matter. So the first form we are talking about is solid. Then the second one we are talking about is liquid. Then the third we are talking about is gas. So most students confuse themselves, or most pupils confuse themselves with the basic units. So the basic units of matter are what makes up the what? The matter. Then when we talk about the states of matter, these are forms in which matter exists. Yeah. So we have solids. So what are some of the things that exist as solids? So we have a stone, we have glasses, we have copper. So we have a lot of things which exist as what? As a solid. Then we also have liquid. So liquid, this is also another state of matter. So we can have things which exist as liquid. We can have water, cooking oil. Yeah, so whenever we are looking at liquid, you can say that we have water, cooking oil. These are the things that exist as liquid. Then when we talk about gas, we have also things that exist as gas. So gases, we see them. Gases, basically we have oxygen, hydrogen, carbon dioxide. Yeah, so we have carbon, oxygen, and many more. So these are what are known as the states of matter. So we have talked about the basic units of matter, which can be atoms, ions, and molecules. Then we also looked at states in which matter can exist, or forms in which matter can exist. We have talked about solid, liquid, and gas. Then when we talk about solid, we are talking about stones, glasses, copper. And when we're discussing about liquid, we are talking about water, cooking oil, and other stuff. Yeah. So now that you have understood the states in which matter exists, we are going to look at some of the characteristics which these three forms exhibit, because this is where they like bringing questions. You will even tell me whenever you open a chemistry paper or science paper 2 question, the first question you will see always is on matter. Yeah. So today I'll help you understand this topic very, very well in simple terms. Yeah, just pay attention. Yeah, so now we are saying that we are going to be looking at the characteristics of the three states of matter, which is liquid, solid, and gas. So these will be the characteristics we are going to be discussing about liquid, solid, and gas. The first characteristics we are going to be discussing is the shape. Yeah. So what does the shape of a liquid looks like? Does a liquid have a shape? Does a solid have a shape? Or does gases have shape? So the answer is a liquid does not have a fixed shape. So when you're looking at liquid, remember they have no fixed shape, but they take the shape of the container. Yeah, so whenever you are talking about liquid's shape, remember that a liquid does not have a fixed shape. That's why when you put a liquid in a cup, it will take the shape of the cup. If you put a liquid in a bucket, it will take the shape of the bucket. That's what we are meaning here. Then when we're talking about a solid, they have a fixed shape. So a solid, for example, in a cup. So a cup, that is a solid, and you can never change a cup into something else because it has a fixed shape. Once a solid, always a solid, unless you melt it. Then when you talk about gases, so gases also do not have a fixed shape because gases are, you cannot see gas. That's the fact. So how can you see a shape of something which you cannot see? That's the logic there. Then the second thing we are going to discuss is the compressibility. Can a gas, liquid, or solid be compressed? So when we are talking about compression, remember a liquid is very slightly compressible, but not compressible. Remember, we are talking about liquid, so they are slightly. So here you can say slightly compressible. So here it's just slightly. Then when you talk about a solid you cannot compress a solid. Yeah. What do we mean when we are saying compression? So when we are saying compression, we are saying that you take something and you try to what? To put pressure on it to see if it will be broken or deformed. But when you talk about a solid, whenever you apply pressure on it, it does not do anything. When you sit on the chair, you are applying compression to the chair. So that chair, because it is solid, it won't be compressed. So solid are not compressible. Then gases, we say that gases you cannot see, and gases is mostly made up of air. So air is very compressible. You can compress air because the particles are further apart, as we will see in our next structure. Yeah, so the gases are very compressible. Yeah, so this is how simple chemistry is. So now we are going to see the arrangement of the particles in liquid, solid, and gases. So remember, the arrangement is what contributes to the characteristics of these three states of matter. So the way the particles are arranged is what determines the state of matter it will be. It can either be liquid, solid, or gas. So when we're talking about, so here we'll start with solid. So when we're talking about a solid, we are saying that particles are tightly packed and they vibrate about their fixed position. So when you are looking at a solid, you can see that particles are very tightly packed and very close to each other. Yeah. So this is the diagram. And the notes, you can say that they are tightly packed. Yeah, so that is the arrangement. So this is the reason why a solid is not compressed, because particles are tightly packed together. Then when you look at a liquid, when we're talking about a liquid particles are slightly further apart. So here the particles are slightly further apart. So here they are slightly apart. Yeah. So that's why a liquid is slightly compressible, because particles are slightly apart from each other. Then when we talk about our main state of matter, which is gas, here particles are further apart. That's why a gas is very compressible. So these are the characteristics which you come across when you are looking at the states of matter. So now we are going to look at the two final characteristics which you come across when you are looking at matter. So the first one is the movement of particles. Then the last one is the what? The volume. Yeah. So whenever we talk about a liquid, so the movement of particles in a liquid is that the particles slightly move by exchanging positions. So here in liquid, particles move by exchanging the places. So meaning if this particle want to move here, they will change. This particle go there and this will come here. That's how particles move in liquid. Then when we talk about particles in a solid, so we can see that they are tightly packed. Meaning here particles won't move. They will just vibrate. So in a solid, particles, you say particles vibrate about their fixed position. So meaning the particles here, they won't move, but they will just vibrate. Then when we talk about gases, since gases, the particles are further apart, so they randomly, so here particles randomly move. Yeah, so in a gas there is a random movement of what? Of particles. Then when we talk about the volume, so the solid has a fixed shape, meaning it also has a fixed volume. And also the liquid has a fixed volume. But so gases have no fixed volume. Yeah. So these are the 5 characteristics which we need to know under the states of matter. Remember, this always comes first question in your chemistry paper. It will come on states of matter. So make sure you go through this topic. And also, this is where my part 1 video ends. Don't forget to watch my part 2 video where I talk about another important topic which they like bringing, which is known as the heating and cooling caves, where we'll see now the changes of states of matter. How can now matter change from liquid to solid and from solid to gas, and what the process is called. So this is also one of another topic which pupils confuse themselves with. Yeah.